Hello, welcome back or welcome to my channel. I really love books and I post a lot about books. So if you're interested in that, then you should keep watching. So today I thought I would do a books to get you back into reading type of video. You know, because sometimes people fall out of love with their reading and just want some recommendations to get them back into it. And I looked through my shelves, I looked through my reads, and I found some that I just thought were good to, get you restarted, get you wanted to read again. So yeah, let's get started with that. But before we do that, thought I'd just mention here that if you would like to subscribe or comment, ring that notification bell, it all really helps out a small channel and helps with engagement and helps me to, keep doing this, keep having fun. So I'd really appreciate it. You don't have to, but if you want to, it'd be much appreciated. So with that, let's get on to the video. Okay, so the first section I have here is going to be comic books / manga, because I think that those are just the easiest to read, the fastest. And if you just want to pick up something quick and, start ripping through books again, comic books and manga are the easiest way to do that. So I have 3 books in this category. So let me start with the recommendations. So the first recommendation I have is Spy Family, and I think that this would be a really good book to pick up if you want to start getting back into reading, because it's very fun, fast, and interesting. Spy Family is about the spy named Twilight, and for a mission he must have a fake family, adopt a child, and get married. But the kind of gag is that the wife he chooses is an assassin and the child is a telepath, and so there's all these secrets being kept between them, and it's like a very fragile line of, is it gonna break? Are they going to tell? And will the jig be up if they do? So it's just fun and entertaining, and I've read 5 volumes so far, and I have all 8. I think there's 9 out now in English. It's just really fun, and I think that it's just something that's very easy to blow through and just get you back in love with reading. So the next book I have is Fruits Basket, and Fruits Basket is just one of those series that is just devastating but heartwarming at the same time, and something once you start you can't help but want to finish right away. I love this series. It's just magical, has some of the best characters I've ever read, and all around just an interesting read. Fruits Basket is about this girl named Toru who lives in a tent in this forest because her mother died in a tragic car accident, and her father had also died from sickness earlier, so she's an orphan, and her grandpa is getting renovations done on his home, and she doesn't want to trouble anyone, so she buys a tent and goes and lives in the forest. One day when she's walking to school, she comes across this house that is in the forest and meets basically the prince of her school, like the most good-looking, popular guy, and there are lots of mysteries around him and his family, which is called the Selma family. And I'll leave it at that, because you get one of the answers to the mystery pretty early, I would say, at least in the first few chapters, but it's still a spoiler, and I think it'd be best if you go in with not knowing anything. This is just a wonderful story with wonderful characters and a very unique premise, so I would definitely read this if you want something to spark that love of reading again. Alright, so the last book I have for our manga / comic section is Heartstopper. I love Heartstopper. It's so cute and so sweet and so fast. See, there's 3 panels on each page. Really short and really fast and just really cute and heartwarming. So Heartstopper is about these 2 boys who live in England and meet in class and become fast friends, and then it leads to more. Yeah, that's kind of what the plot is, but it's done super well. I feel like the characters are really sweet and realistic people with problems that are very relatable, and I think it's just something that can put a smile on your face and is very quick to get through. So that's why I would pick this one up if I were you and you want to, rekindle the love. All right, so for the next segment of this video, I was thinking on doing age categories, just because I know people tend to prefer one or the other, some don't, and I feel like it's easier that way than doing it in fantasy and being like, this is a YA fantasy and this is an adult fantasy. So I have middle grade, YA, and adult. So the first one, going in chronological order, I thought I would do middle grade. So let's get started with that. I have 3 books in middle grade, and one of them is kind of like a YA crossover, but I think it was marketed as middle grade, and the character's 14. So the first book is Coraline. So I think the good thing about middle grade is it's really fast and not many pages, so you can kind of whip through it. And you can get just these really fun, fantastical, and creative stories like Coraline. I'm sure most people know what this is about. There's a huge movie that I love, probably even more than the book, although the book is like right on par. If you don't know the story of Coraline, I will explain it for you. So Coraline follows this young girl named Coraline, you know, like the title, and her and her family are moving to this big house, and in this house, Coraline finds this boarded up door. She's like, wow, what is this? This is weird. Mom, I'm bored because you don't pay attention to me. Can you cut this? What's behind the door? So her mom does that, and there's nothing. A brick wall. And Coraline's very disappointed. But then later that night, she hears some noises of rats and follows them down the stairs, and surprisingly, the door that once only had a brick wall behind it now leads to another version of her house with her mother. But it's not her mother, because that mother has buttons on her eyes and calls herself the other mother. It's fantastic. I think this is one of the most creative stories I've ever read. And if you love the movie, there's more content in here. Like, I would definitely recommend this one, especially if it's like around the spooky season. So the next book I have is Nevermore. And I just love this series so much. I've talked about it in probably 4 or 5 of my videos, and it's here again. And I think deservedly so, because this is my favorite middle grade I've ever read. The reason I think Nevermore is a good pick for this video is because it is a little longer for a middle grade, but a lot shorter than adult and YA fantasy books. And it's just so whimsical and fun. Like, you will be sucked right into this world. You will want to live in it, stay in it. You'll grow and change with the characters. They're just so sweet, cute, heartwarming, and a delight. All around a delight. So Nevermore is about this girl named Morrigan Crow who is said to be cursed. And on her 11th birthday, she is also supposed to die. But when that 11th birthday hits, an eccentric man named Jupiter North whisks Morrigan away to the world of Nevermore, a world with magic, mysteries, and talking animals. It's just a wonderful place. And Morgan, in order to stay, must compete in more trials. If she loses them, she will be sent back to her hometown to await her fate. And I just think this is such a good middle grade. If you're looking for something fantastical and just fun, I would recommend Nevermore. So the last middle grade I have, which I'm just going to put it here because I think it's technically marketed as a middle grade, and that is Gallant by V.E. Schwab. I loved Gallant. I think this is such a good story. I don't think it gets the hype it deserves. It's a little spooky, a little haunting, a little gothic. I just read this book really quickly. I think I devoured it in a few days. So the reason I think that this is a good pick is because, first of all, it's a fast read again, and it's a very moody and atmospheric read. And if you just want to kind of sink into a story and live in this creepy mansion with like secrets and stuff, I think this would be a very good pick. So Gallant follows this girl named Olivia Pryor, whose mother and father are dead, and she lives at this orphanage. And the thing is, Olivia is mute, so she does not speak, and other girls kind of make fun of her, but Olivia is not someone to be messed with, and she will get back at you. And Olivia has this journal that her mother wrote, and Olivia reads it over and over again, and the only thing her mother asked of her is, do not go to Gallant. But one day, Olivia gets an invitation to go to this manor called Gallant, and she cannot say no to this opportunity, so she ends up going. And that's basically the premise. It is really good. Thinking about this story, it just brings me back to it. I just absolutely love this story. Another thing is it has artwork in it. See, very pretty and well done. I would really recommend you pick this one up if it sounds interesting to you. So the next category I have is YA, and I think all the YA on this list are fantasy, because I think fantasy is a very fun genre to kind of try to get back into because there's a lot happening and it's more fast-paced. And I have 4 YA fantasies on this list. So the first book I have is An Ember in the Ashes, and my god, if you want a roller coaster of emotions and to be on the edge of your seat and not knowing what's going to happen next, pick this one up. I love this book. I read it, I think about 3 years ago, and I still cannot stop thinking about it. So the reason I think you should pick it up is because of all those things. Fast pace, can't put down. It's a little bit on the longer side, but I think that the speed of the plot kind of makes it not feel as long as it is. So Ember in the Ashes is a dual perspective story following a girl named Laya and a boy named Elias. Elias' family has just been murdered and her brother has been kidnapped, and she is looking to do anything to free him, including becoming the slave to one of the most ruthless and evil warriors in the kingdom. And Elias is training in a soldier academy, and all he wants to do is escape it and go live a violent, free life. When Laia and Elias's paths cross, their fates change forever. And it is just such a good story and so much fun, and also very, very tense. So if this sounds good to you, you should pick it up. So the next book I have is Legendborn, one of my favorite fantasies of all time. It is just so fun, deals with great themes, has an amazing main character, and has romance, action, twists, everything you need to love a book. This story is about a girl named Brianna Matthews, whose mom has recently died in a tragic car accident. And when she gets accepted into UNC Chapel Hill's high school program, she decides to go and escape her grief. But while there, at a party, she is attacked by a demon, and she realizes that there is this group of demon hunters called Legendborn, and it's all wrapped up in the tale of King Arthur. So it is just wonderful. If you like urban fantasies with likable characters, romance, and lots of action, I think you would love this one, and it might rekindle your love of reading. So the next book I have is Iron Widow by Zhiran Zhao. This one is just an explosion of a story. Just so much happens. Every time you think it couldn't get more crazy, it gets more crazy. The reason I put this on this list is because of just how fast-paced and how explosive this plot is, and how honestly morally gray the characters are, but that's kind of what makes it fun. So Iron Widow takes place in this world where aliens have invaded the planet, and the only way to defeat them is to pilot these giant robots. To pilot these giant robots, there needs to be a man and a woman who use their spirit power to control these robots. But this world is very misogynistic, and the man is the pilot, and he uses up all of the woman's power, sometimes leaving her dead. So Zetienne wants to become one of these pilots to get revenge for a pilot who has killed her sister. And that's kind of where we start out. But it is just really good, really fun. I listened to this on audiobook and I had to keep listening. I needed to know what was going to happen next. I couldn't stop thinking about it. So my last recommendation for YA books is Renegades. So the reason I put Renegades on this list is because I think it's just very easy story to follow, fun, and already it has that superhero element that is super popular in our media today. So I thought this would just be a good story to kickstart your love of reading again. So Renegades follows these two perspectives, one from this girl named Nova and one from this boy named Adrian. And this story follows superheroes, and right now the superhero world is being controlled by the Renegades, quote unquote, the good guys. And Nova is from a group called the Anarchists, who was defeated a long time ago. And now she is seeking revenge on the Renegades for the murder of her uncle. And Adrian is a renegade, but he's also keeping a secret. He has this alter ego called the Sentinel, and Adrian just wants to help using this alter ego, but he has caused trouble that he didn't mean to. And basically, Nova infiltrates the Renegades and becomes kind of a spy for the Anarchists. I'll leave it at that, but it's just a really fun story, and if this sounds good to you and something you think you would enjoy, I would definitely recommend. So the next category I have is adult. I have 4 adult books. So the first book I have is Daisy Jones and the Six. And really, I would put most of Taylor Jenkins Reid's books on here, the author of Daisy Jones and the Six. They're just fantastic, pretty much all of them. She's just an amazing writer. But why I chose Daisy Jones and the Six is, first of all, it's very short, and it is told through an oral history. So it's basically kind of just like a screenplay, honestly. So if you can see, it has the name of the person and then their dialogue. And so that makes it a really fast read and really easy to get through. And my God, this book is just so good. It follows this 70s rock band that becomes the biggest rock band in the entire world. It follows them through their start and how eventually they broke up. Sorry for the angle change. My camera fell and this was the only way I could get it to stay up. And it's just so good and has so many good storylines and themes. That's why I picked it. I think you will love it if you haven't read it. And there's even a show out. So you can watch that too after you finish it. So the next book I have is House in the Cerulean Sea, and this book is just so cute and so sweet and so heartwarming and pretty short. Well, not super short, but definitely something that's fast paced. And it follows this man named Linus Baker, who works in the department in charge of magical youth. And he is assigned to go check out this hotel with 6 of the most dangerous magical children, one being the son of Lucifer himself. And yeah, it's about how he checks out this place and becomes this found family, really sweet story. And it's just something that makes you smile and cry and just gives you all the feels. So I would recommend this one if you want a fast-paced, really sweet read. And I think it could definitely jumpstart you back into reading. So the next book I have is Mexican Gothic, and this one is just really atmospheric and moody, and it's a pretty short read too, and I loved it. I thought this was such a just interesting and slow-paced and atmospheric read. And I know I usually am recommending more fast-paced stuff for this, but if you want something to just sink into and get into that gothic feel, it's another gothic, obviously, Mexican Gothic, that gothic vibe with twists and turns and very strange characters and a decaying manner. This is what I would recommend. It follows this woman named Noemi who gets a strange letter from her cousin who has moved into this small town in Mexico with her husband in this very large decaying manor. So Noemi ends up going to this mansion, and basically there are a lot of secrets that are not told that you discover, and I thought it had such a fantastic climax and ending. It was just so fun and so creepy and atmospheric and weird. And I love this one. So if you think that sounds good and could jumpstart your reading, I would recommend it. And then the last book I have on this list is Red, White, and Royal Blue. And I think this one is just good if you love romance. Spoon-worthy, cute romances that you just can't put down because you need to know if they're going to be together at the end or not. And that's why I put this on this list. I just thought it was a great one. So Red, White, and Royal Blue follows the first son of the United States and the Prince of England, and basically their love story. And it is just so sweet, so cute, and just something that I'm sure if you're like this kind of stuff will kickstart your reading again. All right, so that's the video. I hope you found any recommendations from this. If you did, let me know in the comments below. I would love to hear. And yeah, I think that's it for my video. If you like this, please give it a like. Subscribe, ring that notification bell. It really does help. And I think that's all for me. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.